welcome back to the Netherkast, episode 26. I'm Black Cyborg, joined as always by temporary username Razor's Edge and Shadowloo, and joined by Justin again, Django.
Django.
Jingo. What's up, guys?
Jingle jangle.
What's up?
Jingle jangle.
So, MKX is released. Yes, we all got our hands finally on MKX. We all played through story. We've played a crap load of just verses and towers and all sorts of goodness, and there's a lot of things to just sit there and give our opinions on, so let's just jump right into it here.
I haven't actually picked up my copy yet.
Okay, starting with...
Please don't spoil anything for me, okay?
Yes, there will be spoilers galore, thank you for mentioning that. Spoilers galore, spoilers galore, spoilers galore. We're going to be talking about anything and everything, so...
Well,
yes, anyways.
I don't know about arcade mode endings, though. I don't think that all of us have seen all the arcade mode endings.
Right, sure, yeah, that's fair.
I finally finished all of them today, but if you guys, I can abstain.
God.
I just started YouTubing them. I got tired of doing arcade modes, so...
I just wanted to power through it so that I'd have, like, all the alt costumes.
Yep. Alright, well, let's give our opinions on story real quick, because we're not going to be doing, like, a story mode breakdown where we do scene by scene or anything like that, but I'll give my opinions on it starting off, and I thought the story mode was a lot of fun. I thought the production quality, the design quality, just the cutscenes were tremendous. I thought the way it went right into fights was really well done. The graphics looked great. The voice acting was great. The command prompt fatality QuickTime event was great, or all the QuickTime events were fun, and just overall the story being told was interesting. There was my complaints were I did not like that Devora ended up being a Quan Chi minion undercover the entire time. I vocalized and voiced my desire to see a lot from this character and was hoping she wouldn't just be like a big traitor for the wrong reasons, and well, she was just a traitor all along. It wasn't she just changed her like there was some like Kotal changed and she decided to, you know, like this is too much for me, I need to go somewhere else type of thing. She was working for Quan Chi the entire time just to get to the amulet and all that, and I did not like that. They turned her into generic villain 101 with that, and
she's basically Tanya, which is weird because Tanya's already in the game.
Right. I was
Tanya has very little to no personality or plot relevance in the game, so it's like, why do you keep stealing stuff from this character and giving it to other characters?
In this case, though, unlike Shang and Quan, I get why they did it. Because we know Tanya. Tanya is treachery. If you want to sum up Tanya in one word, it's she's going to backstab people. But... So it's like, hey, look, Kodal's recovered Tanya. I'm sure she's going to serve him really well. Oops! So, yeah, it sucks that she had to be Tanya Mark II, and I really would have preferred to see that role go to Ferritor, who had nothing to do in the story. Like, at all, apart from being generic henchgoons, and that disappointed me because I liked their design and their backstory a hell of a lot. And with Farah being as mischievous as she is, I could have really seen it. I like Devora a little bit better than when she was a loyalist. I don't hate her now. I wish she was a bit more. But I guess not, like... I kind of wonder, like, how much of this coming into the game after the comic... If we hadn't read the comic, would we be as disappointed as we are now? Maybe just as much, I don't know. The biggest disappointment for me was Kotal. Because... Kittleson wrote Kotal as being this kind of emperor to the people and, like, really benevolent. Well, if not benevolent, you know, kind of non-malicious.
Sensible.
And, yeah, sensible, smart in his ways. And the way he's written in story mode, like, after the first couple of chapters, he just seems to come across as more than a little bit treacherous and kind of a thug and kind of a coward, and that disappointed me. Kotal is probably my only really huge story mode disappointment. I was expecting a lot more from that guy than I actually got. But if we're going to go back to Devora, could have done better with her, but overall I'm not too upset. I see why they did it.
Yeah, I just...
Gotta pull the wool over eyes somehow.
I was loving her personality beforehand. Her personality and the way she speaks and just everything, her whole look, I thought was really unique. And to give her a traitor background like that and personality... I don't know, I feel like there's a lot less potential there. Okay, she was a Quan Chi minion, now what? At least if she was with Kotal, there's still a story to be told in the future. I don't know. That was a big disappointment for me. And on top of that, I didn't like how Ferritor was barely in the story. Same with Reptile. Reptile at least had one moment, but other than that, he was just eh.
Reptile got a few. Still generic, but it's nice to see him living up to his position of power, testifying against Melina, getting that,
I would say Reptile, I mean, obviously not only did he get, lines, which is way more than he got in 9,
right.
But I think he has more lines in this one than Baraka had in 9, too.
Yeah.
Sure. It's just, I guess ultimately what I'm trying to say is I was disappointed that several characters I was hoping to see a lot more from were just pretty much background characters. Even Sub-Zero and Scorpion, for the most part, as we've discussed before the show, were almost like background characters in a lot of ways. More so Sub than Scorpion, but it just... I was just disappointed in the fact that Ferritor was just a lackey, as most people predicted, but I still held out hope. Devora got a chapter, so she got her time, but Reptile at least got a little bit more, but I still would have liked to seen a little bit more from him too. And then you had like characters like Tanya and Rain and the Revenants who got a ton of time. They got a ton of time and a focus on them, whereas I mean even Aaron Black just sat there kind of in the background the entire time. He had maybe a couple lines and that was it.
Again, he's a henchman, but at least we found out what his deal was. He got to say, yep, you know what? I'm from EarthRealm, but I live here now, and my business is taking you guys in. He got that. Now, Ermac kind of got the shaft I really felt.
Right, yeah.
Ermac did not do very much at all.
For sure.
Which is really... I think that there was actually kind of, among other things, a really big misdirection campaign in their marketing to try and fool us into seeing what was going to be a big deal, what wasn't. Because, they're like, oh, hey, look, Ermac's got Shao Kahn's soul in him. And hey, look at this! Like Kung Lao and Liu Kang are alive again, and no, they are not at all.
Yeah, that's sort of my big complaint with story mode. There's all these story elements in the versus dialogues and costumes and variations that never comes up at all in story, which just makes the story feel unfinished.
It makes the game as a whole feel disjointed, and I mean, I'll try not to go on a rant, but the new characters were a huge blow to this game. Because I said way back in June, I don't like seeing new characters because they don't go anywhere. After the next game, they don't matter anymore. Now, this is even worse. They actually one-upped me. They didn't matter in the game they debuted in. Aaron Black did nothing. That was a gigantic disappointment.
You could have replaced any character. You could have put any other character in Aaron Black's spot and it would have still made sense, as long as they're Team Kotal, of course.
And Aaron Black, at least I still like him as a character. Shadowloo is right. They ruined Kotal for me. I don't like that character. I don't want to use that character anymore. He's dumb.
I think it's harsh to say that because that's what NetherRealm wrote, but versus that compared to what the Kittleson wrote. I think that Kittleson just took that character in a completely separate direction and did him so much more. Like, if anything, it really shows like a disconnect between Kittleson's writing in the comic and the writing in story mode. I can't really blame NRS for having them be that different, I guess, but I mean, there should have been more continuity and more parity between the two writing teams, I really find.
Continuity for sure, because the inconsistencies with the comic almost make me feel like it's its own universe, and I don't even feel like they're connected anymore because of all the little inconsistencies. That was really distracting.
I'm starting to wonder how canon the comic really is. Like, will MK11... I mean, obviously MK10 was written before the comic was, so it was sort of too late to make them line up better.
And there's another thing,
if 11 never references anything from the comic, I won't be surprised.
Neither will I, and I was very afraid to start off with. Like, this is the fear that I was mentioning a couple episodes ago about, like, things just not mattering when the movie comes along, because this happens with the Transformers prequel comics, and sometimes we get lucky. Like, honestly, we are lucky to have a comic that's as good for us as the MKX comic is, but the sad reality is, at the end of it, it doesn't really matter. On the topic of things not actually mattering, since we were actually just mentioning Sub-Zero and whatnot, mythologies, things not mattering. I thought that the Serena cameo, in which she mentions, Bihan opening herself up to her feelings and whatnot, and this and that, That's actually kind of a pretty big notification, kind of ringing an alarm for me that mythologies still happened in some shape or form.
Well,
which
not
leads
only
me to
did
believe
it still happen, apparently it was a way longer and more elaborate in this universe. Because, man, Bihan and Serena knew each other for 10 seconds in that game.
Pretty
there
much.
was no opening her up to her feelings. They had half a conversation and she got shot in the back.
At any rate, the point I'm trying to make in the end is I think that it can be pretty much swept under the rug, like the death of Scorpion that we saw in a couple of issues ago. So, no, as far as I'm concerned, he's still got his fucking head ripped off in a temple over a fight for a map.
Speaking of another character that just kind of got left out of things, Fujin. He was there in the opening, and that was it.
Why didn't he show up again the second time Shinnok comes to the Jinsei chamber? Like, where the hell is he?
I was reading in the boards. Apparently, there's been some discussion on Twitter. There are a couple of deleted scenes on the cutting room floor. Reiko was in some early drafts. So was Scarlet. There was supposed to be a scene where Jax and Fujin met up in the Netherrealm, but apparently,
so Fujin's probably like leading the resistance against Quan Chi down there or something.
Potentially.
Okay, well that's great and all, but I'm going by what's actually in the game in the final version is all we have to really go by.
Well, I already said a long time ago
Scarlet because create a character and then just drop them like that.
It's nice to think
all getting dropped. Like Kotal and Devore, maybe in the next game. I doubt we're gonna. And maybe Aaron Black, but I think that's it. I think we may see one of the Descendants in the next game. But well, I do want to hold on. Let me say this, by the way. I was worried if we started off on story, we would come off really critical. But I just want to say right now, I love this game.
Yeah,
this is the best Mortal Kombat ever made.
I like the story.
Bullshit, but this is an amazing game.
I'm gonna say this as a blanket statement. This game's story mode pisses all over MK9s. I think that right now we're just venting. Right now we're just venting our frustrations with a few facets that we find a little bit irritating. So I'm gonna say this. Here's my biggest one. Goro lives. Where?
Yeah, right.
I feel ripped off. I didn't actually spend any extra money to pay for a DLC character, but I mean, I was really holding out that hope that he was going to be important to the story, or at least, have that parody with MK4 where he was, for some reason, a mid-boss, and maybe we'd get an explanation for that, but he just lives.
Yeah, there's two sides to my Goro disappointment. One is again, disconnect with the comic. We don't see him, not have arms and get them back somehow. There's no reference to that or anything.
I was thinking he was going to die and come back or something.
The bios, his bio and ending don't even really mention him trying to, him being against joining Melina's rebellion against Kotal at any point. It says that when,
Wait, ending? Don't. Not yet.
Well, not his ending, but his bio and stuff. It just says that, the Shokan stayed out of the Melina versus Kotal thing, which is not what's happening in the comic.
So yeah, we're going full on into comic is irrelevant territory. That's disappointing. It's disappointing.
I know you guys like the story mode better, but I kind of feel like they're different. And I think the high notes are better in this game, but they're about the same to me, to be honest with you.
Do you mean MKX to 9?
9?
Yes, exactly.
Okay.
Mortal Kombat 9 will fool you into thinking it's good because it has such high production values, but if you had just the script sitting in front of you and you just read the plot and dialogue without all the bells and whistles to look at, it's almost as garbage as Shaolin Monks. It's one of the worst things I've ever seen, in terms of, writing talent and just common fucking sense. The plot just shits on itself as it goes.
I still feel like seeing the characters interact
just fucking happened. MK9, it's like it was written by someone who doesn't think in linear order. They have a mental deficiency.
I can hear
MKX at least makes sense as a story.
I can hear Razor's purple pants shredding and see his skin turning green as he discusses this. It's wonderful.
I feel like, yes, MKX does make more sense as a story, but it's a very shallow, unambitious story.
Yeah, no, that's true.
It
really plays it safe. It's kind of short. I compare it a lot to an episode of a Saturday morning cartoon.
Exactly.
And I can think of a few things that would have fixed that. One of them is the stakes don't feel very high. And I'm not saying, I absolutely don't want another, Sindel massacre scene, but at least one of the good guys could have died. Just one.
That's fair. On the topic of deaths, I was actually really happy with everyone who died. We had none of that nasty shock value massacre scene that MK9 is kind of known for now. I felt like every death served a purpose, and a good one.
And like the ones they killed were good. I just feel like they could have had like one of the main good guys go to just to, you know, up the drama and the tension and make it feel like, oh
pretty
shit.
Unscathed.
Yeah, like you go into fighting Shinnok and it's sort of like you don't ever feel like he stands a chance of winning. Like
the fact that the Revenants didn't come back, most of them I should say, that made me happy, because one of my big complaints going into this was, okay, character deaths don't mean anything anymore. Well, you know, Liu Kang, Kung Lao, Kitana, etc. didn't even come back. So that's, to me, that's awesome. I like that fact, that little twist.
Like I was saying about red herrings, I am amazed at their misinformation campaign, that they were basically able to trick all of us into believing that half of the people would come back when nothing could have been further from the truth.
Yeah, all of those non-canon primary costumes. And I mean, there's a lot of people who are mad at that, like they feel they were lied to or something. I kind of like it. Like, I think it's a weird choice that those are the primaries, but I love that those non-canon costumes are in the game. Like, there's a whole, you know, you can play it as like a what if and sort of make up your own story in your head when you're playing arcade or versus. You don't have to go by their story. And that's sort of, I like the option.
You know what else
sort of imagine my own shit or whatever.
It's a gigantic experiment in brand recognizability. The notion that you could actually take your characters and age them and change them and advance them in story while still keeping their basic classic iconic images or some variation thereof recognizable and usable for marketing purposes and tools. It's a brave, ballsy move, and I hope that it pans out for them. And I hope that they continue along these lines.
Yeah, I really hope that in future games they keep doing this. Like, take Liu Kang, for example. He's got a costume that's like, what if he hadn't died and he lived to old age? And that's, you know, a cool, like, thing to see. And then he's got a costume that's like, here's what he looked like in the past, like, before he died. And, you know, so you can sort of have that classic thing. And then he's got a costume, this is what really happened, here he is as an evil zombie. And it's just, you can sort of do whatever you want with the character. And then you've got all these intros that are like, if a mirror match happens, you know, Scorpion versus Scorpion, one of them will say he's the champion of the Elder Gods, or Sonya versus Sonya, one of them will say she's Lieutenant Blade of the OIA. It's like there's a crossover happening, and that's why there's a mirror match.
Speaking of names, just briefly, did you guys hear about the Reptile thing? Guy's got a fucking name.
Yeah, I did hear that.
Reptile is not his name. His name is Sizoth.
I like Reptile better, but I didn't know that. That's cool. Where was the source for that? I didn't see that.
When Raiden fights Reptile, he calls him by his proper name, and Reptile's all like, you know my real name?
That's nicely done. That's actually really smart. I applaud them on that. That's cool.
Yeah, I mean, obviously Reptile's just a code name. I mean,
well,
his race named him Reptile.
Oh, I do want to say, I agree with you guys.
That's like having a son and naming him Human.
There could be some charm to that too. I like simplicity when it's done right, but I agree with you guys on the Revenants. I absolutely agree. But what really bothers me are things like Sub-Zero's primary costume. Because if it didn't have a place in the story, that means, so you're telling me you could have made any costume you want, and this is what you made? If it was grounded in the story, I'm like, okay, well, that's justified. But now it's a random costume that has no meaning. Liu Kang's costume has a meaning. It's a what-if costume.
Now, Sub-Zero's,
though. Sub-Zero?
Sub-Zero, I can see that as being the costume that he probably wore when he took down Sector.
I kind of wonder if it's not supposed to be, because there's a lot of remakes of MK9 costumes in there where they sort of completely redesign it, and which is a little odd, because like we get that flashback scene in story that back to like MK2 where Raiden, Liu Kang, and Kung Lao are saving the monks from the Tarkatans, and all of a sudden Kung Lao has like a 3-foot ponytail he never had, and Raiden's, you know, wearing his MK1 retro outfit, which doesn't have the time medallion, even though this is during the period where he's having time visions.
It was weird.
I wonder if some of the like Sub-Zero's primary is supposed to be like a remake of his MK9 outfit.
Well, in a way that does fit, because the MK9 outfit reminded me a lot of MK1, while this outfit has more of an MK2 aura to it. I don't know why. I can't tell you why.
I don't know.
I guess
the Marty McFly vest element reminds me of the UMK3 squares.
Yeah, kinda. I could see that, but I don't. It's weird. I've kind of adopted that costume. That's actually the costume I use for Sub-Zero. I feel like I don't know why, but when everyone's using Beard Zero, I think you said
everybody's using Beard Zero, so
exactly. And it's growing on me. I actually don't mind the costume so much anymore. It's the mask. If I can get past the mask, it's actually not a bad costume. But look, I want to rewind backwards a little bit and talk about D'Vorah.
Yeah.
In the talking point of why not just put Tanya in D'Vorah's role, I get that it would have been predictable, but I like the idea that, because it was in the old timeline, Tanya did work for Shinnok. That was a thing, and she was a double agent. I feel like having old timeline substance would have been more valuable than the surprise we got with D'Vorah, because it was a surprise. I didn't see it coming.
Here's the thing with Tanya for me. The reason it worked in MK4 was because she's an Edenian and Shinnok was invading Edenia. And plus there was that element of where she's like, her rival is Kitana, so she's going after Liu Kang. You can't really do that with D'Vorah because she's in Outworld and there's no Liu Kang. So neither of the things Tanya did, other than being a traitor in general, can be like D'Vorah's role. But it bothers me that over the years, every game Tanya's in, they take more and more away from her and give it to someone else. Like, she was the first, like, seductress character. Now that's Melina. She was the first traitor who works for Shinnok. Now that's D'Vorah. She doesn't even have purple fire anymore. And she's got her goddamn Kobu Jutsus, which is such... She only had a weapon in Deception because everyone had a weapon. How did that become a part of her fucking character? I hate those things.
I mostly agree. My counter argument would be that at least Tanya had an established nature and alignment. You're right about everything else, but
I just want to see a sorceress with Cammy's drill kicks who snaps necks with her vagina. Why can't they do that?
And I hope maybe we will. That's not out of the question yet. That something like that may come back, but
yeah, I hope she has a variation where she's got like purple fire or something. I don't know. I
hate the fact that D'Vorah, she had no reason to do what she did. At least the story mode couldn't be bothered to tell me why she did
what they never establish her motivation. Like in the flashback, she tells Raiden she's an atheist. Now she's worshiping Shinnok. Like, was she just lying, or did something happen in the past that we don't get to see?
An atheist in the Mortal Kombat universe is kind of a strange creature anyway, because...
Well, at that point, it's not so much not believing. It's just I refuse to bow to you.
Oh, okay, yeah. Okay, I guess that makes sense, but I already didn't like the character, and that kind of sort of goes for Kotal until the comics, so it's just a huge disappointment to see these characters do things in the story that make me like them even less. That was... I mean, there are some good things in the story mode, like the Tea Party with Scorpion Sub-Zero is going to be one of the greatest moments in fighting games.
Yeah, that's my favorite scene in the game.
It's everybody's, because it's amazing.
I like how the tea is... he's serving it in a soup bowl.
They like tea.
I think it's huge.
The fact that it's just this reference to, like, the original poisoning of Takeda, of the first Takeda of the Shirai Ryu, who founded the clan, that moment where he offers him the tea and Hanzo just looks at him and he's like, you can see it in his eyes. Are you fucking shitting me?
Are you serious right now?
It was wonderful, and they didn't even have to explain it. If you knew your MK lore, you knew what was going on between them at that moment.
I almost wonder if it's a coincidence, because Vogel obviously doesn't know a damn thing about mythologies.
Well, that was brought up in, what was it? Deadly Alliance, actually, the Conquest mode. Wasn't that the first time we heard about the whole tea thing?
The poisoning? No, that's in the mythologies backstory stuff.
Okay, all right.
The text that was in the website and the instruction.
Okay. I have really got to get a hold of that fucking manual. I don't know if I've mentioned this before, but, like, I've had a disc copy of Mythologies for, like, 15 years and no, like, cover art or manual for it at all. It bothers me daily. Anyway.
You know who had one of the best cameos in the story?
Not Cyrex?
Not Cyrex, unfortunately, but you're close.
Sector.
Yes,
Sector
exactly.
Give that man the $10,000 in the Oscar. Sector wins for best performance. Oh my god, I'm salty.
He acted the hell out of that sitting on a table.
Sector fans, how do you feel? Do you feel like I feel, because it hurts?
You know what?
They kept his fucking
come back from being a disconnected head.
That's actually his fucking head. oh god, that's twice Sub-Zero's kicked his ass off screen, and this time they kept his fucking head.
Yeah, that's what bothers me, that it happened off screen again. Like, Sub-Zero's chapter is the most bullshit one in the game. They couldn't have done a flashback where he takes over the Lin Kuei.
But you know what, though? Like, we joke because it's hilarious, but that really was, in a way, a really good cameo, because I feel like that Sector upstaged Ermac in this game, who really did nothing, but Sector had a function. He did something. And that I really like that dialogue with Quan Chi in Dead Sector, or Hologram Sector. That was a really good line. You followed the letter, not the spirit. There is no deal, or whatever he said. That was good. Like, that's actually, that's pretty good writing right there, you know? So props to Sector and props to his fans. I'm sorry I talk so much shit about you.
I like Sector. I'm a Sector fan. I'm okay with putting a head on a table, because you can plug that head into another body and boom, he's back. That's how robots work.
Crash test dummy that shit.
He makes a wonderful Jedi holocron.
Cyrax unplugs his head like every fight, so...
Where is Cyrax? We have to find that out.
Well, I think that's the best thing for Cyrax, is that we don't see him means he can still be alive.
This is true. If there's no body, he's probably okay somewhere.
He's one of those blue Lin Kuei ninjas. He just has to wear the uniform now.
Let's get a tech unit faction in honor of our fallen.
Indeed.
Pour one out for our homies.
But I do agree with Temp on the fact that I did not care for any of the... In story mode, I did not care for the personalities of the kids, or whatever you want to call them, the group of 4 kids or ancestors.
I'm now calling them the Ninja Turtles, because that's literally what they are.
Sure,
Jackie
yeah.
is Neo, Cassie is Mike, Jin is a little too Raph, and Tateda is Donatello.
It's just Cassie, going into it, I really enjoyed Cassie's personality, but she didn't show it a whole lot during story. She did a few times, cursing here and there, making a smart-ass quip, which was nice, but the other ones I just did not care for, and even Cassie didn't necessarily blow me away by any means. She was passable, but the other ones, they didn't really do anything. Takeda was just there. Kung Jin had okay moment. Well, I mean, he was, the Kenshi stuff, but I mean, I don't none of them, it just was bland. And then I don't know, as the 4 main characters of this game, I just did not feel like they stole the show by any means or made me like a huge fan of any of them.
I'm not completely sold on them yet, but I came away from them a little bit more impressed than I thought that I was going to be. Of the 4, I feel like Jackie out of all of them didn't really get much time to shine at all. She was just the one who was really just kind of there, and her role in the story is basically like extrapolated through Jax, who is the most interesting he's been since 1995, by the way, so I can't be disappointed with that. I loved seeing...
Yeah, I'm real happy with Jax in this one.
Like, just having him go away and just resigning his commission and trying to live a peaceful life and not wanting his daughter to follow in his own footsteps out of being protective, and that little nod to Johnny showing up, hey, she's with us now, and he comes back with a broken jaw. That was wonderful. No, but I mean, Jackie's story is basically told vicariously through Jackson. That's a bit to her detriment, because I don't think we see enough of her and what she wants and what she's made of. On the other hand, Cassie just kind of got the little bit of the chosen one syndrome. She gets a little bit of development, and it's not bad. And there are a lot of people out there who are upset that she took down Shinnok. I guess I can kind of get that, but...
I feel like they built it up well with the whole referencing Johnny's MK9 backstory, and
which was unexpected and really nice.
The inheritor of that power.
It works for me. They're really like setting up like Cage's versus Shinnok's as like arch nemesis as games go on. It's kind of cool. So I'm not irritated
started
with it.
In Armageddon.
Yeah. This is just not the first time, and I'm kind of really loving that. Johnny Cage of all people,
Johnny and Shinnok.
Yeah, like out of all people, like the guy, like formerly like the main sidekick character, or one of them, gets arguably the most powerful and evil figure in the series as his arch nemesis and takes him down, or his lineage takes him down. It's kind of really awesome. But Takeda, I thought was worth it for his interaction with Kenshi. That was a nice back and forth. He didn't come off anywhere near as whiny as I was afraid he was going to be. He came off as actually, fuck you, you're supposed to be my father, you weren't there for me, and I can understand that. It's cool. Kung Jin.
I feel like Kenshi's one of those characters, like him and the way he's used bothers me the way Sub-Zero is used, where he doesn't really get to do anything. I mean, he gets a lot of great characterization, but he doesn't do anything. He doesn't have a chapter, and Sub-Zero does, and yet they do about the same amount of stuff.
He got knocked the fuck out. It's kind of sad, but...
Quite a bit. Like, not even just a few times. Like, it kind of was a theme of the story that Kenshi gets bitched, but... I'm going to agree with you for sure. That was a really good scene in story mode, because Takeda had a good reason for not liking Kenshi, and Kenshi had a good reason for doing what he did. And when they understood that, they acted like rational adults, and that is what I want to see in a story. I don't want to see contrived, oh no, I have to act like a little bitch because the story doesn't work if I don't. Yeah, that was really well done.
I'm glad they didn't get their revenge against the Red Dragons off screen in this game. Like, they left it for a sequel. Because I do want to see Dagon come back in some fashion. I kind of liked him.
Absolutely.
No, and I still like, Taven even. I love Taven. And Shujinko, I love them all. But, as much as I bitched about the NPCs on the previous episodes, they were the best part of story mode for me. Lee May obviously is one of my favorite characters, and her design was fantastic, but Serena really was so good seeing her back and seeing her act like that. I never really wanted to see them bring Serena back because I never thought they would do it right. But that was Serena. That was the personality I always want Serena to have. That was the story I always wanted her to have.
She's a good guy like she should be. Her costume looks amazing. She's, her dialogue, it's what you'd think Serena would be like. The only thing that bothers me is that she doesn't interact with Sub-Zero at all. But
yeah, but I feel like they probably intended something like... I feel like only like 60% of the story mode actually made it into the final game. I feel like they just ran out of time.
Yeah, it feels like there's a lot of gaps. Like,
in the cutting room
in
floor.
Raiden's chapter, he mentions that, when Kano stole the amulet and gave it to Melina, and that's how it, ended up in her hands. And he says, when he went to the vault where he was keeping the amulet, Kano left this big elaborate trap that he had to go to a bunch of different realms to disarm. That feels like it should have been a chapter.
It does. It really does. I forgot completely about that, but that's kind of a big glaring omission now, isn't it? Unfortunate.
You know what?
I will say... Well, go on, yeah?
Good. No, you're fine. You're good.
I feel like it's weird because a lot of the roster costumes seem to be a little more conservative on the women. But when it came to Serena, that is her Armageddon ass costume, with just everything. Her whole backside.
Her top is buttoned up all the way instead of cleavage, but yes.
Yeah, I was just... Well, cleavage I think is more respectable than ass when it comes to just open clothing. I feel like one is a little more subtle than the other. So, it looked cool because, like I said, there's charisma in sex appeal. You can make sex appeal cool, So it doesn't bother me.
Katana's still got at least 2 costumes with bare thighs.
I think
she's actually the skimpiest dressed one. Melina's got less skin showing.
Maybe it's just tough to get a really good tailor in the NetherRealm.
Yeah, it's true. You're probably doing your own shit.
You know what? They were what? Onis until Quan Chi made them human, if I'm remembering right.
Serena's. Jitaka and Serena? They were demons, and Quan Chi used his magic to make them look human.
So he's deciding their wardrobe, pretty much.
Yeah. Well, they always sort of hinted that they were also sex slaves, so she should be kind of skimpy, yeah.
So that's unpleasant. That's a bad thought. But Cyborg, you were saying something.
I was going to say, speaking of Serena and Quan Chi and all that business, man, was it awesome that Quan Chi... I like Quan Chi a lot in this game. I know you guys have grown tired of him, but the idea of Quan Chi, we've speculated before this game came out, is Quan Chi going to steal Shinnok's thunder in this game? It was quite the opposite, and not that Shinnok stole Quan Chi's thunder, it's just Quan Chi didn't betray Shinnok this time. Quan Chi flat out saved Shinnok's life. He brought Shinnok back.
He's a genuine worshiper in this continuity. The thing that I found out about Quan Chi, the way they played him, though, is they sort of... It's almost like they went too far in apologizing for MK9, because every scene Quan Chi's in, he's sort of pathetic and tired and out of breath and begging for mercy. This is not the same guy from MK9 who was always in charge of the situation and always full of himself. I feel like Quan Chi's the kind of guy who, even when he's losing, would still be smug. And this one's just kind of mewling and pathetic.
Well, I didn't really see him as pathetic.
You had that moment where, after they hilariously arrested him...
Right.
arresting him. I just want to repeat that. They arrested Quan Chi.
Yeah, Quan Chi is in cuffs in the custody of the military.
Yes.
Was he read his rights?
Yeah.
I think that scene is actually like possibly the most humiliating thing, and it's probably what's making him seem so pathetic to us. That was bad.
Well,
I'm
I mean,
sorry, but like.
Yeah,
they should have had like this whole like Hannibal Lecter magic getup to contain the guy in. Yeah, but they threw him in the back of a fucking paddy wagon.
That's kind of what I want to see. If Quan Chi is captured, he should be acting like Hannibal Lecter. But I felt like he was sort of a sad sack in this one. Like I almost feel sorry for him by the end.
It was all an act. It was all an act. It was all an act because. He was smiling while he was handcuffed.
He was doing it while Scorpion was killing him. That's not an act anymore.
No, he was smiling while he was in the truck. He wanted to be captured. That was the whole point. Is he let himself get captured just so he could get in, get the amulet, and then bring Shinnok back.
When Scorpion's fighting him. So I feel like
he was a mastermind.
The true Quan Chi never comes out.
He was smart. He was smart in his approach because his main goal was to get that amulet and get Shinnok back, and he did that. He sacrificed his life, got captured. And killed, but managed to complete his goal. He 100% did his job well done, in my opinion.
I think they were trying to
two angles at this. Well, go on, Shadowloo.
I feel like they were just really trying to sell the angle that because Shinnok had actually been imprisoned that was the thing that apparently really fucked him over. Like, apparently
I guess if
was the source of his strength.
Shinnok is the source of his power. He's been, without that power source for 25
years and years. So I can understand and accept that this time through. And it works. And I'm just going to say
my problem isn't with the actions. It's sort of with his personality. Like, I feel like in his private moments or after, he's sort of been captured, then the Quan Chi who's smug and everything's going according to plan would come out.
You know what? Fuck that guy. I'm tired of that guy. That's the guy that we've been railing against for so goddamn long, and I can understand completely how people would expect that to come out, but the entire point of this for me was exactly what we saw. I could not be any more happier. Quick time events to the groin, yo. Do you know how happy that made me to see him looking up at her and begging with his eyes not to do it? And she did it anyway.
And the Cage family and groins.
And then later on, perhaps we can discuss this more civic. No, fuck you into a wall.
Speaking of the Cage family and doing the same thing, what is it with Sonya now, like talking like she's on an internet forum? Like during the fights, like she says stuff like BTFO and spoiler alert, you lose. That doesn't sound like Sonya to me.
That is a little bit weird. Okay, I'm glad I'm not the only one who noticed that.
I mean,
I didn't notice it because I don't play Sonya.
And it could be explained that couples when they're together for a while or they're around each other for a while, they start
picking up each other's mannerisms.
Yeah, they pick up each other's mannerisms, their styles, etc. So it could just be Johnny rubbing off on her.
It just sort of feels like it's like somebody who's not hip trying to be, though. Like it doesn't sound right coming out of Sonya.
But I mean, that's the point.
Mom jokes, perhaps.
Maybe. I was just going to say, actually, Shadowloo beat me to it. I think the fact that Quan Chi's original MO was get the amulet, overthrow Shinnok. But in this game, he kind of has the worst of both worlds. Shinnok's dead, and he doesn't have the amulet. So he's kind of running the NetherRealm on his own devices. And that's why I think we saw such a huge character change from the beginning of the game all the way to the very end. So even it makes sense that he would want to bring Shinnok back. What else does he have at this point?
Like I said, he did exactly what his job. He did his job. He got the amulet back and got Shinnok back.
That little smirk on his decapitated head was his last little final little fuck you. I've messed you over at least one more time.
Watch that cutscene again when he's in the truck. When they capture him, he's in the truck. Smirks. He is smiling. He knows what he's doing. Think to when I was playing it, I thought the Dark Knight Joker. He purposely got himself captured because he could destroy it from the inside. He did what he wanted to be captured. He got captured, and then obviously it would all went according to plan. So he got what he wanted. I feel like that's great character development. He's not just...
Yeah, but the Joker never went, wait, please don't hit me, let's talk this out.
So I like that, though.
Joker kind of begs.
New Quan Chi.
Joker kind of begged at times.
No, he's like, I want you to do it.
Well, in that one scene, I mean...
No, like in the interrogation and in before... Like, pretty much every time he comes against Batman, he's like, come on, give me your best shot.
No, because...
And he starts laughing as he's being punched.
I gotta go with Razor on this one.
Because even when Joker's getting his ass kicked, he's like, okay, I'll give you what you want. I'll give what you want. I'll tell you where they are. Because it's all part of the plan. It's Quan Chi. It's his plan. This was all his plan.
I don't have a problem with the plan. I have a problem with the personality.
Okay, well, put it like this. If Quan Chi was like, okay, put me in your jail. It's all going according to plan. Wouldn't they just be like, okay, we're not taking you there then? He's playing it up. He's a theatrical guy.
Yeah, no, I just, you know, if he was a little, like, smug or snarky, that wouldn't give away the plan. I'm just looking for consistency.
I feel like the inconsistency is almost justified to make the character more interesting, because I'm so tired of Quan Chi as he was, you know?
Yeah, I guess. I feel like I can see the strings where the writers are puppeteering the character, and you can tell that they did it on purpose to apologize for MK9.
Yeah. That's how I feel about Kodal.
And I feel like they took it just a smidge too far, is that all I'm saying?
I don't.
Like, they apologized slightly too hard.
I think I'm going to get Minion to make me a stig of Quan Chi getting his nuts stepped on. Nice and animated. Put that shit on repeat.
How do we feel about Bo' Raicho? That was pretty good.
Actually, if we can. Because we discussed briefly Takeda, Jackie, and Cassie. We did not get to Kung Jin. And I think
he's a big talking point.
He really is. So, far from being... Well, yes, he starts out as a little bit too Raph, as Razor said earlier. But he does come into his own, and he gets possibly one of my favorite scenes in the entire game, where Raiden actually, confronts him, and he's like, you're wasting your potential, you should join the Shaolin. And it's at this point where Kung Jin says that they wouldn't accept him, and Raiden says, we don't care, we only care what's in your heart, not who your heart desires. And so people picked up on this, and they brought it to Twitter, and yes, it's a confirmation that Kung Jin, in fact, swings for the dudes. And I thought it was actually a really, really nice little point, personally, that we have our first LGBT character, and it's not a crux of his character or his personality. I feel like this, in addition to the more conservative elements or the way that they're having the ladies dress these days, I felt really proud seeing that. I feel like MK is actually managing to somehow be mature, or more so than usual, while kicking up, even more gore and nastiness and bloodness.
I think it's really sort of... I'm looking for a positive word here, and I can't find the right one, but I like that MK, of all things, like this goofy, gory fighting game, handled the writing of a gay character better than Mass Effect.
But not as well as Guilty Gear, in my opinion.
That's true. That's fair.
But, I mean, he is subtle, though. He's not a stereotype, and I love that.
It's mentioned in passing, and that's all that I think anyone should really need or ask for. He's not like a terrible stereotype, like, well, maybe not terrible, but like thinking of Eagle from Street Fighter, where it's just flamboyant to the utmost degree. It's just a facet. It's just a facet of the character.
He's a normal guy who happens to be gay.
Yeah, and that's how it should be handled.
Really, the way
because of that. Well, because of that, I didn't figure it out, though. Like, I didn't know from that line. I played through the whole story mode without knowing he was gay. I never figured it out.
It's a quick line, and it never comes up again, so you could miss it or not understand what they were saying. But
I was kind of confused, to be honest with you. But
I just want to backpedal for a second. I said just now that that's the way it should be handled. More to the point, I think a wonderfully flamboyantly gay Richard Simmons character would be really cool, but I don't think that the game world is ready for it yet. We'll see.
It's coming
in the future. Maybe.
I've known some people who went for the lisp in real life, and they're kind of obnoxious, so I'm kind of...
I got a friend like that who's pretty darned awesome. Much respect to you, Drew. You don't listen to this, but much respect to you, Drew. Anywho. So yeah, Kung Jin came across, overall, like that aside, as a very interesting, multifaceted, and mature character. I really liked his moment where he's able to, talk Kodal Khan down, and he's like, so one of you knows how to speak with a silver tongue. That was a really nice moment.
Kung Jin, it drives me crazy. He's the best character of the four, because I didn't want to like him because of his backstory, but
they made him too good. He got good.
He has actual character development.
Mm-hmm.
I still like Takeda better, but I think that's not in a story vacuum. I guess I have to agree with you guys, but I think as a design, in terms of gameplay and just the way he's networked into the story, I like Takeda kind of better.
Ugly. I like his alt way better.
I just like the fact that Scorpion's a protege, so it's hard for anyone to beat that of the new cast.
I mean, Scorpion having a protege is cool, I guess, but it just feels like a retread of Sub-Zero and Frost to me sometimes.
But they still can't get that right. I thought the Frost scene was obnoxious, but that was my opinion.
Well, I mean, Frost as a character is obnoxious, and again, that's sort of how she's supposed to be. But, I mean, I would also see the argument for Frost who behaves differently, had, like, different training, and it affected her personality differently, but obviously they didn't go this way.
Yeah, they just reiterated what they did with her Frost. Before.
She was consistent, and I bet that if you punted a puppy up there, she could impale it on that hair.
Well,
that hair was special.
At least she didn't go full betrayal and freeze herself to near death. I mean, there's still the chance that he could trade for life.
That's what I was to say.
And yeah, I thought that hair, speaking of Shadowloo mentioning it, the hair was, that looks stupid. I like Frost a lot, but...
See, people give, like, MK9 Smokes, like, character select portrait and his versus screen portrait grief for looking stupid. That's what it would actually look like if he was wearing it like that.
Well, the problem with her hair was, in MKX it went straight up. In MK Deadly Alliance it kind of went up but then backwards. It was more like natural hair, not like a frickin' the Slim Jim guy cut, in half.
It kind of looks like Froyo to me now.
She's a stringy cheese mascot.
She's kind of gone Super Saiyan.
Is that even her final form?
Oh, I hope not. I do have a question for Django, though.
Is he here?
I think so, right?
Yeah, he's
I
here.
heard him giggle at one point.
Well, I was going to say, with Bo-Rai Cho, I know you're a fan of the character, and you know we're all a fan of the character. If that character was DLC, would you use that character? Are you excited for that character? Because I thought Bo-Rai Cho was very fun. Not important, but a lot of fun.
I like the way they handled him in story mode. I liked his character and his personality and stuff. Yeah, I'd give him a spin, see what happens. And I like that he still drank.
Oh yeah, well, that would be.
He's carrying a flask as opposed to a giant gourd, but yeah,
it was a great. It was actually, that flask was actually really emblematic of the way that they handled him. Toned him down a little bit, lost a little bit of weight, but still, the first thing that you see after all this horrible shit happening is just Bo-Rai Cho getting drunk. He's still who he is.
I gotta have a sit and take a sip. This shit is killing me.
and that's the thing that I read. Apparently, as a result of some tweets, the writers aren't sure what his status is after what we see go down. He could be alive. He could not be alive.
It looked.
I'm guessing alive.
Like Shinnok said,
Shinnok was like,
he dies, his soul will be mine, and then nobody else beats him up anymore. Like they just leave him there. So I'm pretty sure, like he should be alive.
Yeah, me too.
Well, going back to the flask, the flask is important because if he had drank out of the gourd, people who weren't familiar with him in the previous games may not have gotten the reference. So the flask makes it very explicit that this dude's an alcoholic, and I like that.
Yeah.
I like Lee May. Does anyone here like Lee May other than me? Does anyone want to talk about how great Lee May was?
I thought she looked great.
Like,
she was nice, definitely.
Like, when all we saw of her was from her shoulders up in the trailer, you couldn't tell that her costume was elaborate as it is. But yeah, she definitely looks like she could be a fighter.
Yeah,
she kind of looked like a purple Chun-Li.
Which is kind of what she was, yeah.
She looked good, though.
I can't say housewife Lee May at all.
I'm a fan.
I think she has a decent chance of being future DLC, just as any other NPC was, or somebody else that wasn't like put in the game. But yeah, I see a lot of potential in her model, and she wasn't written off like she can't fight or anything. They just didn't really elaborate on what she could do. So yeah, I mean,
her voice acting was really good.
Yeah, I think they did her great justice. It's just it's still up in the air where they're gonna take her, if anywhere. So she definitely has that potential still there, which is nice. I'm sure.
I like that they remembered the name of her town from Deadly Alliance. I think it's weird that her town has changed from a tiny fishing village into like a copy of Zamkara, but they still called it Sundoe, and that's where she's from.
They're trying. You have to give them that.
Yeah, they're trying a lot harder than they did in 9. There are so many things they could have retconned and kept the same, and I really appreciate it.
At the end of the day, MKX's story mode really, really impressed me. It's not perfect. I'd give it a 7 out of 10. No, 8.5. 8.5, because I came away so much happier than I was afraid I was going to be. It still feels like it's going to be like kind of like a Matrix Reloaded of a trilogy. Like, this is obviously due to events during the end credits cutscenes and whatnot.
I like how this one has like a Marvel movie end credits scene.
This is leading into some major shit, you can tell.
I like how it's leading into the same major shit it already led to in the old timeline. We have Dark Raiden again.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not being, like, ironic or sarcastic. I really love having Dark Raiden back.
And he looks good this time through. Really good. What was I going to say here?
Smoke?
I miss them.
I miss Smoke, too.
You know he's a finisher.
Yeah,
he is a finisher.
It's not the same. It's just not the same.
It would be weird if they Smoke DLC and you do the faction kill and he summons himself.
They are many. They have cancer. No, but seriously, for Smoke, for the benefit of our listeners, go watch the scene where they're like bullying Raiden for his lunch money, which is hilarious, by the way. And Smoke has a moment while they're actually beating on him. He's in the background, and he just sort of pauses like he doesn't know what the hell he's doing there. It's like, is this what my life is now? Where there is smoke, there is dejection.
Well, that actually kind of makes sense, because by the end of the story, it becomes really murky on whether the Revenants are possessed or if they're just assholes. I can't tell anymore.
Yeah, like that's my big question coming out of this game. The Jackson Sub-Zero established that the Revenants are mind controlled, that those aren't their true personalities. And yet, like, so they're under control to worship Shinnok, and they normally wouldn't. So why at the end of the game does Raiden let Liu Kang and Kung Lao keep Shinnok's head?
Raiden and
I don't
Katana?
get that.
And what are they going to do with it? Like, are they going to try and bring him back, or do they have their own, like, free will now? And
that's a question.
They're the king and queen now.
Yeah, who would be possessing them at this point? Quan Chi's dead. Shinnok's dead.
Well, no, he's not. He's perpetually alive. Like Raiden says himself,
a fish.
He cannot be killed. He's helpless.
That's right.
I had a thought. I hope there's a stage in MK11 where he's a head in a jar and he like talks in the background, and you can throw him as an interactable, and then he just flops on the floor like a fish.
Feculent scum.
He's gonna be fed feculent scum out of a little fish food container. How indignant!
Oh, that's sad.
Do we like Shinnok? Are we happy with Shinnok?
I love how they handled Shinnok.
Shinnok.
I think
this was the game of Shinnok.
I wish his demon form wasn't stone with yellow cracks again, like fucking
Dark Khan.
Blaze and then Dark Khan. They keep doing these glowy stone men. Like,
I agree.
Yeah, I mean,
but
Shinnok.
That aside,
but I do like that he has a demon form, like he did in Mythologies.
I've been asking and praying and hoping for that demon form for years and years. And because I've always felt that, like, Shinnok, the major weakness that character has had was that he's supposed to be like the end boss of all evil bosses. He's a fallen elder god. He should be terrifying. He should be a thing terrible to behold. It should almost be Lovecraftian in his horror. But he's never pulled it off. He's just been that boss that you could play as, who copied moves or maybe, and like it slowly, suddenly got better and better over time. And this was the game where I feel that they finally started to nail the Shinnok concept. I've been asking for that Mythologies demon boss form back for so long now, and we finally got it. Feels good, man. Not exactly, but I'm so happy that we got what we got, even if the design is admittedly kind of derivative.
Yeah, and kind of boring. I didn't really care. Also, the lighting on my TV is bad, and I've told you guys this before, but it doesn't look like it's filled with lava. It looks like custard to me. So it's a strange design. It's really... I feel like they could have... Again, safe. It's a theme of the story mode. It looks really safe. Like they were afraid we wouldn't know he was a demon if it looked any different, but...
Well, I'm cool because like he's got a hat that looks like giant horns. So then he transforms, and he really does have giant horns.
Yeah, about the hat. I'm not crazy about the hat either.
I don't think anyone's really sold on that hat. The hat looks good when he's wearing like his Player 2 red alternate. Then it looks nice.
I'm still okay with the goofy primary hat. They do sort of stick out in a weird way that maybe they could have done a better job with the let's make a hat shaped like horns idea. But I'm just glad that it's there, I guess.
Fair.
Yeah.
I feel like the way it looks right now, it could have just been a little bit more subtlety would have gone a long way. Because right now, it looks like the demon code prevents him from denying a rock-off challenge. And that's not what I was going for. That's not really what I wanted.
Or it looks like NetherRealm opened up like a Disney World.
Yes.
So then they just pass those out to the kids instead of Mickey Mouse.
It looks like an Aladdin character.
It is a little Disney World.
Have you guys seen the corrupted Shinnok's fatality?
Yeah.
No.
Oh yeah,
that's really cool.
I really like his fatality. It's cool. And when you just lose to him, his little
his
thing
wind
that plays
pose is fucking great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to see this. Must
It's
job
good.
to Shinnok.
And I love
It's kind
that,
of awesome.
It's as awesome as it is, and it's still faster than like 5 minutes of watching the slave girl crawl to Shao Kahn's leg before you can start.
Yeah.
Good. I'm glad we're not repeating that. Jesus, that was terrible.
Took forever. But yeah, I'm just really happy that they let Shinnok be the final boss and they didn't like swerve and have some other end villain.
Me too.
Like he got his due.
Yeah.
He got his
Finally.
turn to be the boss.
I feel like that's
It was
the big
game of Shinnok.
That's the big takeaway here for story mode and MKX. I mean, there's a lot of great things about this game. Don't get me wrong, but in a lot of ways, we all wanted Fujin or a Raiko or Havoc or these types of characters. We wanted them back, and if there's anything that it delivered on in that sense, this is Shinnok's. He definitely got a reimagine or just his chance. He got his second chance, and he's absolutely amazing. And he's gonna have so much a much bigger fan base and recognizability and iconic status with this game, because this game is selling like hotcakes. It's selling incredibly well. So the fact that Shinnok is a main part of the story and the end boss on all arcade fights and a selectable character, yeah, he's gonna
so happy.
It puts his status as far as recognizability and iconic status in the MK world. He could easily rival up with like Shao Kahn or I don't really
about goddamn time.
Yeah, he's up there now, and Quan Chi, etc. It's good.
I mean, in terms of popularity and villains, like it was always just Shao Kahn, and then everybody else was those guys from the 3D games. Now it's Shao Kahn and Shinnok, and that feels good.
I feel Shang Tsung was up there, but yeah.
Well, I mean, Shang is a minion though.
Sure.
He is now, but he's going to get that back. You know what has to happen. Shang Tsung's the one they need to redeem now. And speaking of redemption, how do we feel about Raiden today?
I thought he was good in this game. I thought he was really cool.
I think he was written the way Raiden should be. I mean, he's still not Christopher Lambert jokey Raiden. You get a little of that in the intros, the sarcasm, and that's cool. But at least he's not a moron at any point. He's actually doing the things he should be doing. He shows, intelligence and forethought, and he's a good protector and mentor for once.
He's
and
got
then
sage
for the
advice.
people who are still mad about MK9, you get a bunch of scenes of him being ganged up on like he's being bullied in the schoolyard, and that's great.
Precisely. Couldn't
like
say any better myself.
I feel about him as good as you feel about Sonya stomping Quan Chi's nuts.
Well, bro fist, man, because I feel really happy that Raiden got a good showing after that shit show on MK9. I'm ready to like this character again. I'm ready to love this character again the way I used to. And maybe the MK1 all has more than a little something to do with it. I don't know. Every time I see that damn MK1 all, I'm just taken back to being like 13 years old and playing MK1 again. It hits all the right nostalgia buttons for me. That plus finally having Raiden be back to the way he should be written, when he's not being all Dark God Psycho at the end, of course, makes me so happy with him at the end of the day in this game. I couldn't be happier with Raiden now.
I have a question about that. Why exactly is Raiden going dark? I mean, what
he absorbed the Shinnok's corrupted energy out of the Jinsei.
So I was confused, because in the old timeline, he went there because Earthrealmers were stupid and he was tired of,
Well, no, there was actually like a metaphysical reason. When he blew himself, Quan Chi and Shinnok, or Quan Chi and Shang up, trying to kill Naga, their souls actually got kind of tangled on the way to the afterlife, and some of them rubbed off on it.
Okay.
He's also got the amulet now.
Yep. He's wearing it.
Okay, so that's interesting. Okay. Yeah, I totally get on board with that. I like that. All right, so let's just wrap up our feelings. Shadowloo rated it an 8.5. Let's all throw in our just on story mode, and I'll throw mine out there real quick. I think just overall story mode, I had my disappointments. I thought it was, like I said, presentation and design wise, I thought it was really good. The best story, design, and presentation wise, you can argue like the actual content of it, but overall, I'm going to give it an 8. I thought it was solid. There was a little... I would have liked to see more of, like, the Lin Kuei stuff, of course, Cyrax, and there's a lot of, like, lingering things that I still would like to see and see other characters back, but overall, I thought it told a decent story and just was really, really well done, so that's a big part of it.
Yeah, I give it about an 8.5 too. It's really good. My only complaint is it's a little short. There could have been more chapters, more backstory, flashback stuff. But yeah, about an 8, almost a 9. You know
what the really funny thing is? On the topic of its length, I feel like they were really trying to like just retell MK4 justice and do it justice this time through to those who felt it might not have been as such before. And Razor, I know that you love MK4, and I love MK4 too, but I felt that this was them trying to flesh it out and expand it a little bit more, which is, I guess, why the reason that at least we can actually see Fujin and hear about things like the Reiko Accords and maybe not have too many characters from past the MK4 point in time. I think that was their end goal, to do MK4 differently.
I mean, it is like a lot of the same stuff, even thematically too. MK4 was supposed to be like introducing a new generation. That's why you had Fujin is, the guy who becomes the new protector when Raiden retires. Liu Kang is training his protege Kai. There's a lot of that in this game, but with different characters. And I am a little disappointed that we don't get to see like Reiko or Kai at all, but yeah, it covers a lot of the same ground MK4 does. And even like the thing where Devore is basically just Tanya, that's not inappropriate really if you're retelling MK4 to have a character in that role. Because again, the thing is, Tanya's an Edenia and she was betraying Edenia. There's no Edenia in this timeline, so it has to be an Outworlder now.
You will note the absolute and complete lack of Jarek anywhere in that sentence.
That's true. Well, there is a Jarek reference in the game.
It's so cruel.
There's one of the intros when it's Jax versus Kano. Kano calls Jax a second-rate Sonya, so Jax calls Kano a second-rate Jarek.
This character will never be playable again, people. He's done.
All right, so good. Temp, what would you rate it?
I guess I'm kind of the wild card here, because I was probably the most critical when we first all played Story Mode Tuesday. I kind of feel like Joaquin Phoenix from Gladiator. My thumb's kind of going up, kind of going down. I'm going to give it a 7.
Okay.
There's 2 things I really like about this story mode. Again, in terms of plot, I don't think it was very well done, but the characterization that we saw with Sub-Zero and I'm going to agree with you guys. Raiden was very well done in this game. Was so good. It was stellar, and that brings the score up quite a bit. And one thing, the story mode helps people like me out a lot, because I think one thing that hurts my favorite characters so much is not whether people hate them or dislike them or think they're bland. They just don't know who they are. Now people know who Fujin is, and he's badass. People know who Li Mei is, and she looks cool. People know who Serena is, and she's relevant, That helps people like me out, That does a lot of the work for me, where before I had to be my own word of mouth for how good these characters were. Borai Cho, too. Borai Cho was a badass, and he looked so cool. Something's fucked up with his chins, but that's what the beard's for, So...
Yeah, well, that's being fat for you.
Yeah, no, he's deceptive. Like, he looks somewhat, like, out of shape from the waist and the torso, but that chin is, like, that is a 400-pound man's chin right there. And yeah, so I owe NetherRealm for that. I'm really critical because I feel like the things I love about MK are not the same things they love about MK, and that's unfortunate, but they helped the fan bases out. I was afraid the fan bases would die if they didn't come back for this game. So if nothing else, that's the light of hope, So I give it a 7. It did a lot of things right. And as a story, I think it's really shallow. I think they could have done better. But that's okay. That wasn't the only thing I was looking for. I found a lot of other great things.
All right. And Justin?
I mean, I think almost everyone can agree this is like the best Mortal Kombat there is. Overall, I liked the story mode. It was bare bonesy, but it was tighter and leaner, and I felt like that might have been kind of the point. But I don't know, maybe. But it was still fun. But there's so much more in the package of MKX that just make it fucking amazing. I think overall I'd have to give the game
the story.
Just
I'm not.
Story.
Okay,
dude, it's been 3 days. We are not ready to address the whole game yet.
Yeah, these guys haven't even seen the arcade endings. None of us is even halfway through the crypt. It's
I think at least another week before we start throwing out.
I think
ratings.
I might be ready.
I think I might be too. But we'll stick to story.
Okay. We can
that's
definitely
fine.
wait. We'll let it simmer. We'll let it stew.
I'd like at least one more week to see how it goes. I don't want to see. The problem is when you rate a game right away, you almost feel you got to question whether you're caught up in the hype and the excitement of first playing it, or if it's legitimately
like every time
something.
I come out of a movie, I'm like, that's the best movie I've ever seen. Then a week later, I'm all like, Man of Steel wasn't very good.
God, I've had that with so many fucking.
See, I was in the theater when I thought Man of Steel wasn't.
All right.
You really thought that
like
about Man of Steel?
Okay.
All right.
Oh,
I could not kneel before Zod, not in the least.
I like it. Let's move on.
The story mode is so much better than Man of Steel. Like
the thing about 1989 Batman is that when you really look at it, okay, all right, I'm done.
There's nothing wrong with 1989 Batman.
Cassie Cage doesn't let her dad die in a tornado. Gotta give it that.
No, this is funny because I'm actually like looking at a GIF on MK Online right now, and just like Fujin with a tornado in back of him. Now I'm picturing Johnny Cage swirling around.
Ooh.
Anyway,
So what would you rate story?
8.5.
8.5.
Yeah.
So we got two 8.5s. I think two 8s. Did you decide, Razor, between 8.5 and 8?
8.5, probably. Let's
Okay.
go 3 8.5.
So three 8.5s, an 8, and a 7. So yeah, overall, I think we all really enjoyed the story. Just we had minor complaints just here and there, but ultimately it was still well done. I don't think anybody can deny the fact. I mean, from a production standpoint, I think we all agree that the cutscenes and just the quality of the actual content, maybe not so much the story being told or how they handled certain things, but the actual content they're giving you, that was easily the best Mortal Kombat story. But obviously you're only really comparing it to 9, so there's not a whole lot of competition. But yeah, it's really good.
I'm telling you right now, I deducted an entire point for lack of Goro. That's it.
Yeah, speaking of lack of Goro, that lack of Cyrex still bothers me. I don't. Are we gonna get to see in the comic what happens, or do we have to wait till MK11 or a possible DLC bio? What are we doing here?
I would not place too much more stock on the comic. I really wouldn't.
Well, I think
it's going to be
will see in
enjoyable.
the comics. It's just a question of whether it matters.
Right.
That's kind of what I'm getting at. I'm sure everyone is going to pop up. Maybe they'll explain what those Reiko Accords are.
I'm sure that's a reference to Kotal helps Sonya and Johnny beat Reiko, so they make a peace treaty and they call it that. And that's sort of, I feel like that's the reason for the comic.
Explain the Reiko Accords.
Explain what the Reiko Accords are. That's the only reason this story arc exists.
Fair enough.
All right. Well, here's the thing. How do you guys want to approach the gameplay and everything else about the game? Do you want to wait a week and do it then, or do you want to just kind of? Because we're about an hour and 8 minutes in. So if you want to wrap this up about an hour and a half, 2 hours max, we can do that. But if you'd rather give it another week, I know Temp is jonesing to talk about it.
I'm dying here.
No, I know. I think we all love the gameplay of this game. That should be said. But do you want to dive headfirst into all the aspects, or do you want to wait?
Well, there's two things I think we have to talk about.
Okay.
First thing is, what did it feel like when you first started playing the game? Because I think we all were kind of taken aback by how different.
Yeah,
it
we
felt.
all had a different first impression than how we feel now.
Right.
Yeah, and that's the first thing I'd like to talk about. The second thing I feel like we have to talk about is the factions. Because I was going in as a skeptic, and now I have feelings.
Okay. Well, then, yeah, let's touch upon these things then. Okay, your first topic was first impressions versus now. And when I first played the game, I didn't have the pleasure of doing verses or any of this stuff to warm up or practice or anything. I literally, the first thing I did was jumped right into story. So I'm playing characters that I Johnny Cage is first, so it's like right away I'm like, wow, this does not feel like MK9 Johnny Cage. I mean, you have similarities, you have little things here and there, little touches, but ultimately I was just like, wow, this feels really different. It feels on the positive, it feels really fluid, it feels fast, it feels just very, very smooth. But on the flip side, I was like, the jumps are really floaty. It's kind of hard to, as fast as the gameplay is, like moving around in the stage felt really slow. Like not slow, but it just felt slower than MK9. It just felt different.
I think that was to encourage people to run more.
Right, yeah, and exactly, and that's what we're getting to is now I think it feels absolutely incredible. At first I was like, wow, this is different than I thought it would be. But now, like, if it almost felt like almost a different type of game. But now it's just like, no, this is Mortal Kombat. It's a little bit MK9 with the MK4/MK3 run mechanic, but better done, of course. And I'm loving it. I think the gameplay at first was just a little bit of a shock, but then once you start warming up, it felt really, really good. It feels butter smooth right now. So yeah, that's my thoughts on that topic.
I know they're going for a very offense-heavy game. I remember hearing that they mentioned specifically that there is no more such thing as invincible wake-up moves. So waking up sometimes feels really hard to do when you get knocked down. Like, a knockdown is pretty much a terrible thing that happens to you in this game. You don't have, like, the easy escape options that MK9 offered. This game is all going to be about being as offensive as is humanly possible. At least that's my perception of it for right now. And so some people with like kind of a wait and see tactics or trying to zone a guy out, those people who are used to those kind of strategies may have to adjust their playstyle. And that's not a bad thing in and of itself. The gameplay of itself feels meatier, angrier, but after 2-3 days, I'm much more used to it now. It feels like an extension of MK9, but with the fat trimmed, I suppose you could say. I'm liking how it feels so far. I still have to get very good. I'm not good yet. But it definitely grows on you. It feels more comfortable after a while. And once you learn, like, running and learning how to use the stage to your advantage, which is, by the way, the only real element from Injustice which feels like it has any influence on this game at all to me. Borrowed moves from, like, Kunjin and Green Arrow and whatever aside. No, that's it. I'm loving how this game feels. Natural. It has a flow to it. It's much less forgiving when you fuck up special moves than MK9 was, but you just have to remember precision, and you're usually good to execute whatever you're going afterwards. So I'm very, very, very impressed with the game.
Razor?
Yeah, I think that if you start with story mode and the first character you play is Johnny, it almost does the game a disservice, because as an MK9 Johnny main, he's so much, like, they changed most of his normals. He feels sort of slow and sluggish now. And when I was, first playing the game as him, I got really worried that, this feels kind of like Injustice, because his combos are sort of that, they're almost jerky and staccato like the ones in Injustice are, but like, it really bums me out that the forward 3 foot wiggle string is gone. But it's just Johnny. Everybody else, like, so many characters I've played have such, they have the strings I was looking for, and they feel, fast and offensive, and there's still some little things here and there that, like, it bugs me that they changed a whole lot of button commands for the specials. Like, Melina's teleport kick is down, A now.
It's down, such a major gripe. I wish they would just maintain special move continuity in commands.
Yeah, the spear is back forward instead of back again. That's annoying, but it's just something you got to get used to, and it doesn't really hurt the game that much. But I really enjoyed the way this one plays, and my first impression my fear that it was going to be like Injustice was completely, not the case.
Definitely allayed.
I'm sort of bummed that Johnny feels as slow as he does, but I'm finding new mains. I'm really enjoying Liu Kang. I've bodied people, like I got 11 wins in a row in a King of the Hill the other day with Liu. I really like Cassie. I really enjoy Kung Jin, which again is frustrating when I like something about him because I don't want to like him.
And I was thinking that exact same thing. I had so much fun in his chapter. He felt like natural. It flowed smoothly. A lot of people were saying that if you liked Smoke, that Kung Jin might be the best possible option if you want to continue that kind of play style. So yeah, it's amazing how much I like Kung Jin now after being so skeptic a couple of days ago in all respects.
I just like that his dive kick makes such a good combo starter. And who else do I? I'm a little bummed that Jax's multi-slam has such a lengthy command instead of just being a throw, because I used to be able to get all 6 throws in MK9, and now it's not really working for me. But the one that makes me the happiest is Sub-Zero, because I felt he was kind of slow, and I didn't really enjoy playing as him in 9, but he's so good in this one, and it really kind of bums me out that at least one of you guys is already maining him, because I want to be Sub-Zero.
We can share.
Everybody be Sub-Zero. All right, Justin?
Yeah, I really like the gameplay in this game. It's really good. I can look at it and I can see all the ways that they've improved it, and I can see how basically with the design and like the theory, it's all better. It's so much better. It's so much more sophisticated than MK9 was. I'm not great at it yet. It's gonna take me a while to get it under my fingers, but once I do, it's gonna be a much better experience. So I think they did a fantastic job with the gameplay, which gives what they've done with the gameplay gives everything, like you guys have already said, a much more aggressive and vicious feeling. It's really good, and maybe in a couple of months I'll be able to enjoy that goodness too.
All right. I actually want to mention something in terms of being aggressive. Something overlooked far too often, I feel. The sound design during fights. What's jumped out at me specifically is the sound of fist impacts and like attacks landing and whatnot. Listening to this game in action now, thinking about the MK9 sound effects, those things to me now kind of sound like wet towel slaps. The sound effects for fighting in this game, it's just they just seem so much more natural and bone-shattering and vicious and brutal in their impact that it really feels like you're in a good fight. And that's
the sound design is really good, yeah.
Yeah, I will say, I wish they hadn't shown us that video of them doing the Foley recordings with the plunger and the slime, because now I can't unhear it during the fatalities.
All right, Tim.
Before we move on, there is one more thing I wanted to say about the gameplay. I am so fucking happy that you can't juggle people with the same standing jab over and over again anymore.
All right, and Tim, that'll lead into you.
All right, well, that's actually a really good segue. When I first played the game Monday night / Tuesday or morning, I played for a few minutes, and I was kind of like a little mixed because I realized that none of my skills in MK9 mattered. This is a new game. You could almost say we are all starting over with MKX.
I don't believe it.
Unfortunately.
I don't believe it.
Oh my god, I was like, I feel like I can't move. Like in the dashes, I'm trying to dash for offense, but I'm just getting blown the fuck up. And
dude,
I'm like, yeah,
it's funny. I don't feel like I started over from scratch. See, you use the mobility and the jab juggles all the time, and I never used them in 9. And now I'm the one who's good at the game.
I gotta go with Temp on this one. I've seen Temp smoke. I've seen my smoke. I know how good smoke is when he's in Temp's hands as compared to the embarrassment when he's in mine, comparatively speaking at least. And if I can beat Temp at more than a few matches, and same with Cyborg, then I think that we definitely all are starting out fresh, because I was definitely way rustier than any of you guys was for MK9, and now I feel like we're almost the three of us on kind of a level playing field, almost.
Okay. I'll say,
go on. Yes.
Yes, it is very different from MK9, but so I'm half wrong, but the half right is I still feel like your basic knowledge of fighting games and experience of fighting games will make you catch on to this new feeling a lot quicker than other people. Same with the Fatal 8. Those dudes played for 2 days, and they were just, I have not seen anybody play as good as they've played yet. And that's because they're all, well-known tournament players that are all really good at fighting games. So, your MK9, the things you can do in MK9 may not transfer completely, so I was wrong on that. But at the same time, I still think there are natural advantages to just your experience with fighting games in general, because you know what to look for and what's gonna get you the best results a lot of times. That's me admitting that I'm half wrong.
I also do believe that Cyborg's got a point here. Temp, you're probably gonna be bodying us all within 2 weeks.
Well, we'll see. Half admitting you're wrong is half of the first step. So
stop it. I made a fair point. You know I did.
They're both valid points. Very.
Well, me and Cyborg had some great matches. We'll definitely talk about that later, against each other and with each other, because I have a lot to talk about that. But overall, I kept thinking to myself, what the fuck am I doing wrong? Why do I feel like my hands are tied behind my back? And the answer was because I wasn't running. The run function in this game is fucking brilliant. The game became literally 3 to 4 times faster once I started using the run function. And the run function felt awkward, but then I was like, I went into training mode. I'm like, okay, let's get this down. What I did was I would do the run input. I would just fucking let go of the control. I let go of my arcade stick. And then I realized, all right, so when I decide I don't want to run anymore, then I do my inputs. So immediately I was doing knockdowns. I do run pressure. I would do runs and then go for a cross up once I reach sweep distance. I would do the run function, and then I would go for like a down 4. And it started to feel so much more like MK9 to me. And I'm like, oh my god, this is so fast. This is so fun. This is so offensive. I love this. This is offense done right. And the game was a whole new creature to me, and I was having so much fun. And it's so layered. Like, this is the tiramisu of fighting games. It's so fun because you're doing so much cool shit, but there's so much other cool shit you could do, and you have to choose which cool shit you want to try. So it just, oh man, it gets so fast, and everyone's in their faces, and movement just feels so good. So I feel like there's something very empowering about this game. What MK9 had going for it is the freedom of movement was so big. So you feel like you can convert off so much stuff in the game. You feel like just footsies were so interesting because movement was so free, This game is more restrictive, but it's layered. Like I said, there's so many dimensions, and the reason why it's so restrictive is because you got to navigate those dimensions. When a game is this complex, you got to kind of ride yourself into it, and that's what I did with the run button. So it's amazing. I don't know how else to say it, but it's so good. And it took me a day. It wasn't really until I think Wednesday morning that I was really feeling like how to play the game. But now I think it's phenomenal. And God, it's such a good fucking game. I don't know what else to say.
Why don't you take us into your thoughts on factions, and then we'll start talking about that.
Well, let's first talk about why I was skeptical about factions. They sold me factions on the idea, or they tried to sell me on factions as the idea of you have this pseudo community of strangers, and you gain points every time you win under their mantle, and I could not give two fucking shits. But me and Cyborg did team factions until 7 a.m. yesterday, and we would do 5-on-5s, and it's not round robin in the faction war, but it's single elimination, but when you win and your team wins, it feels awesome. And when you win and you get to watch your teammates' life bar and see how they're doing, it's fucking hype. It really is. It's an artificial camaraderie, but it still feels really good. By like 6 a.m., me and Cyborg weren't just two dudes playing video games. We were Lin Kuei. we were silent as the night, deadly as the dawn. Like, there were so many fucking fist pumps over the internet.
Yeah, anybody that lost matches, as Temp said, are getting turned into cyborgs. That's how we pretty much thought about it.
It was amazing. And it was
generic white cyborgs.
You will submit to the Cyber Initiative.
No, it's incredibly fun. I agree with you. And it's not just the faction battle, it's the whole system of team battles, I think is the I guess a better way to umbrella this is because they took out tag team, right? So then the idea of playing with a friend in the same match on a team is no longer there. But instead, they put in something completely different, but offering the same kind of experience, but in a completely new way. And in a lot of ways better, in my opinion, because you're getting team battle, whether you're doing just player team battles, 3 versus 3, 5 versus 5, single win, or round robin, which means you face everyone on the other team. And, or you can do factions, which are 5-on-5, and you have to be on the same faction versus other people that are on the same faction. And that's a ton of fun, because it's all about, like you said, it's pride, camaraderie, it's all for the Lin Kuei, or whatever you're representing, and for the Shaolin. That's incredibly fun. Or you can have ranked team matches, which are 3-on-3. So it's just incredibly fun, like Tem said, that you're going in as a team, you're rooting for each other. So take the round robin, for example. The reason why the round robin is so fun is because you're doing 3 versus 3 or 5 versus 5, and you know you're facing all the people on the other team, and each of you are facing all the people on the other team. So then when I get matched up against this guy, I'm going to observe what he's doing, and if I'm struggling with something, I'm going to tell my teammates. You communicate through Skype, or you communicate through an Xbox Live or PSN chat with the people that you search with. So you get a team, and that's the nice thing about the player ones, is you can actually go in together. You can invite your friends and go in together, which is important, and we'll get into that later. But why that's so cool is, say I'm facing somebody that spams a lot or does this a lot, or I can warn my teammates, like, hey, watch out for this, or, oh, this guy's not very good, you're fine, or this guy is really good, watch out for this, dude, you're gonna have to watch. Like, that is incredibly fun. And then when you're done with your match, you can see the life bars, so you can it's just fun. It's fun team aspect that I hope this is not a one-off for this game, and I'm going to enjoy the hell out of it for the next 4 years. But this is something that if you're a fan of games where you work more as a team rather than just one-on-one competition, say you're not the competition type in terms of like competing with your friends and you'd rather work together towards a common goal, this is the mode for you. This is perfect. This is, say you're a shooter fan, like you like first-person shooters online and do team matches. This is essentially, you're getting that with your friends in a fighting game type of setting, because you're all working for the same goal, which is really, really incredibly fun. And where I said we'd get to later is, unfortunately, with the factions and the ranked, you can't search with your friends. You just have to search at the same time and hope you get on the same team, which is not impossible. It's definitely possible and doable, so that's nice. But at the same time, they need to patch in a setting to where you can search with your friends if you want to, or you can just go in by yourself and get matched up with random people. There's no reason why in a rank setting or a faction battle why you can't invite your friends to fill out the team if you have that as a possibility. I think that would make it much more hype, because then say you have Team Netherkast and then there's another group of people that are like, okay, or just take the different sites, MKO versus TRMK, or Tether versus Test Your Might, etc., and you can get all these together. Shoryuken, and just all these sites can compete and they can form their own teams, or podcast versus podcast, Team Nethercast versus NetherRealm Studios. You could do all these things going into ranked, and you can represent and take that shit seriously. You can say, hey guys, you ready at 9 tonight to get ready for the faction wars, and like just take it really, you get really intense. And that's where the magic happens with this team battles, that I hope they patch that in. I'm going to tweet the crap out of them, and I recommend everyone else tweet NetherRealm Studios, tweet Ed Boon, tweet everyone you can to just say, hey, please add the ability to join or like search with friends on ranked and faction battles, because that would be amazing. But just the player matches alone, incredibly fun.
I feel like there's another problem too. I think NetherRealm strongly underestimated how popular the Lin Kuei was. So when you're trying to find a team battle, like if you're Lin Kuei and you want to fight the Black Dragon, and Ultra David and Tyler Lansdowne aren't online, you're kind of fucked. There's no Black Dragon to fight. I mean, that's a problem. So I feel like they need to incentivize, you know?
Yeah, the Lin Kuei has at least double the membership of everybody else.
Yeah.
And yet only one member on the roster is Lin Kuei somehow.
They needed to reprioritize that shit. I don't know why Shirai Ryu was in a faction. I don't know why we couldn't have had a generic Outworld faction, considering that that's half the freaking cast.
Right.
At the very least. It was always going to be... It was always going to be Lin Kuei. We all knew that coming in. But
yeah,
at the end of the day, there needed to be more factions, I think.
I think you're right. With Ashiri Ryu, that'd be solving part of the problem, because then you'd at least have Scorpion and Takeda fans that would go towards that in terms of character representation.
Maybe they're hoping that it'll rotate when, people master one, they'll move on to the next.
Yeah, I'm predicting like there'll be a mass exodus to Brotherhood of Shadow right after Lin Kuei wins its first faction war.
Yeah, but that's still not solving the problem, because then you're essentially gonna have the same issues, and plus, a few weeks out or a couple months out or whatever, a year from now, when everybody's mastered everything they want to master.
Well, I don't know that there's a solution to that. What are you gonna do? Not let people pick the faction they want to be in?
I mean, put incentives in. Give people reasons to play the Black Dragon. Give them prizes, Make Kano costumes.
Well, to be fair, that's why the ranked team battle is there. It's not faction based, so there's that. But just based on the faction competition, just not team battles, but faction competition, the overall faction war at play. Yeah, I don't know how to solve that.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like the only answer is, if you want people to like the Black Dragon more, stop making them shitty in the story.
It would be funny if they pick up on this idea and 2 months from now, the Lin Kuei prize for leveling up is a banner, and for the Black Dragon prize is Cabal. So I don't know. So that would motivate me. That would make me feel a little differently about factions. I don't know.
I think the only real way
I think there's a lot of Lin Kuei fans who'd be pretty salty, though.
I think the only real way to solve it is to just change the factions that are being represented. I think Lin Kuei's fine, White Lotus is fine, Brotherhood of Shadow's fine. It's really just Special Forces and Black Dragon that you're going to run into that issue. I feel like if you swapped one out for Shiryu and then swapped another out for Outworld, like you said, you would at least solve that a little bit.
I'd probably go Outworld too. That'd probably be my faction if it was up to me.
Yeah, it's just, I don't know.
Tekunin represent? Heads on tables, yo.
Yeah.
That should be their logo.
I'm totally down to be a head on a table.
Sector's head turned sideways. All right. Any other thoughts on the team battles and stuff?
It's good.
Thank
you. I guess we close out the episode talking about who our mains are. That's an interesting topic.
Yeah, we can do that. Right off the bat, this ties into what we were talking about earlier. We talked about how the game felt a little bit odd at first, or just a little bit. It was a shock just compared to how it felt, and to me, that shock was not remedied until I picked up Katana. I don't even remember why I chose Katana. I just did, but I tried several other characters, obviously throughout story mode, and I even tried Kenshi, who was my main going in. And I was just thinking, this just doesn't feel right. Nothing feels the way I thought it would. Just looking at the videos, even balanced Kenshi, I was like, when I actually got my hands on it, I'm like, man, his projections come out a lot slower than they do in MK9. And his combos, I could not find a pop-up combo. I was just like, what is this? What am I doing? This just doesn't feel like anything I imagined. It wasn't bad, it was just different. I could not get the hang of it. But when I tried Katana for the first time, it just felt good. And I think it's because she's naturally a quicker character, and I need a quicker character. It's kind of like I harken it back to MK9. I could never really get the hang of juggle combos and stuff like that until I played Liu Kang, because I feel like he's a nice gateway character, so to speak. And for me, this time, it's Katana, and she's just... I said in our live reaction, when Razor and I were talking about our live reaction, or whoever was in the live reactions at that time, I said when I first saw Katana, I was like, wow, she actually looks amazing in this game. I've been so on the character before, didn't hate her, didn't like her, but her gameplay looked fascinating, her model looked fascinating, her costume looks fascinating. So I guess it was just fate that I ended up trying her when I did, because she completely changed my opinion on the gameplay. I fell in love with her gameplay, the assassin variation specifically, later on trying Royal Storm, which felt really good too. But just overall, I'm really digging her gameplay a ton. It's just, I feel like I have all the tools that I need. I like a projectile. I like something that gets in quick, like her run. I like the pounce, because that's something that's harder to predict, and it has some distance to it. And she has decent combos that can deal decent damage without having to remember all these complicated button presses. So it's nice. I'm really digging Katana. Outside of that, if I had to list one more, Kenshi, I did Temp, I did try out that combo that you told me about, and I actually found a way to make it easier and better and still get the same percentage.
Nice. Good shit.
So I did practice with him for about an hour and a half earlier and got the hang of that combo to the point where I was nailing it just about every time. And yeah, I'm really enjoying it. Really enjoying Kenshi, so I'm definitely going to pick up Kenshi. So it's probably my two mains going forward are probably going to be Katana and Kenshi. And I don't know who's going to be number 1 or number 2 or if that even matters, but I'm digging the way both of them play, and that's where I'm going forward.
All right, I'll go next.
Or
sure. You can. See, this is...
Shadow, just go. You're fine.
All right. So,
sorry, I should have said it.
I've probably had less time with the game than anyone on account of my hectic lifestyle. But I did have the time to putz about with Melina a couple of times last night and some today. Beasted on some fools and ranked, and it was nice. I haven't had this much fun with Melina since, like, MK2. Something about the piercing variation just feels really right. I like having the multiple psi options. I'm gonna need to play around with Ethereal a little bit more, but as it is, I think that like the low psi is kind of really indispensable to me. There's something about this Melina, I don't know what it is. It feels proper. Like, she feels really natural, free-flowing. This Melina really harkens back to MK2, where I had the most fun with her. Now, I need to take a lot of people, as in everyone, to the lab. I've always been kind of a jack of all trades, master of none kind of guy. I can play with most characters, but this kind of game, it's not going to be possible, I don't think. Not at all.
Dude,
all these variations.
Your Melina's damn good right now. I think you need to harness that and really just go full on with her. Maybe pick up one more character, but yeah, your Melina's no joke already. Temp and I have played way more than you, and you were destroying me. That's awesome.
You picked up the mobility so quickly.
Yeah.
Like, right off the bat, it looked like fucking all over the screen classic Melina, and I'm like, this is going to be awesome. Like, it's awesome now. In a month, this is going to be beautiful.
Yeah, and I'm so happy you're playing her because her gameplay looked fantastic, and her model and everything looks fantastic. So yeah,
I still haven't like mastered running or anything at all that shit. But I just this is just a day and a half. We'll see what develops. There's a lot of people I really want to take into the lab. I want to give Ferrator a shot because I feel that online is going to need some Ferrator representation, and I am in love with those characters. So we'll see. But for now, Melina is my gal. And I just like to point out proudly to our audience that earlier on, as I was going through ranked, I performed the gut-shredding fatality, and there was a chat going, like the other guy had chat going on, and I heard a small child's voice in the back, and I think I may be responsible for a lifetime of therapy bills. So I'm a monster. I am a monster.
He's the one who played Mortal Kombat in front of a baby.
Yeah. Why is there no achievement for that?
I should have something.
You deserve points.
A hefty fine at the very least.
Or you made a Mortal Kombat fan for life. One or the other.
Yours open.
But
all right, cool. That's it for me.
All right, Razor.
Yeah, I am the chosen one. Apparently, I am really, really digging Liu Kang.
And you bought it using Liu Kang last night. Bad, like free.
Yeah, I wrecked Temp. I'm a little bummed that I can't seem to get the hang of the red and black fireballs in Duelist, but I'll probably be sticking with Flame Fist. That seems to be working for me.
I think Liu Kang for you is such a natural fit because I thought in Mortal Kombat 9 your best character was Kung Lao by far. A little bit less Johnny. I thought you did good with too, but the common denominator there is that they're both really quick characters. So I think Liu Kang absolutely, in this game especially, because in MK9 he was fast. That's why I liked him, because I like to play quick characters as well. But in this game, Liu is incredibly quick. So yeah, I haven't even seen your Liu Kang, but I'm excited.
Yeah. He's definitely reminds me of like the way I was playing Johnny and Kung Lao in 9. I think the other thing I like about him though is that like even if like me being up in their face doesn't work, like the high and low fireballs are such good zoning options.
Yeah. Yeah, I love high.
Other than that, I mean, I'd like to get better with Sub-Zero, and I am committed to making a go with Quan Chi once that classic costume comes out, since that's what we rolled.
Oh yeah, speaking of which, I should mention Devora is a lot of fun too. I did play a fair amount of Devora the initial night.
Yeah, you didn't seem to be enjoying her in story mode, but
I didn't.
Like I've now played as everybody for at least 10 fights because I beat all the towers, and I found her really enjoyable.
Yeah, no, I enjoy her a lot because in the story mode I didn't know what the hell I was doing, but I did eventually take to her against Redman before I started playing Redman, but then I used her against Redman. And I do like her combos and setups a lot. So yeah, I will eventually come back around to try and actually learn her much better.
I'd also like to play Goro, but I feel really cheap when I do.
There's that guilt factor. There's that guilt factor that you have to overcome, and I think that this is actually a major reason as to why I never really went for Melina in MK9. I felt bad. Something about Melina just feels unfair tactically. Fuck you, I'm on your head. Fuck you, I'm on your head. And Goro is just that power untapped, like that untapped potential to the max. Everything he does is designed to humiliate, destroy, and hurt you, take away so much of your life. And you just, I suppose, have to let go of conscience. Maybe perform some fatalities online in front of small children. Remove your soul.
Yeah, I mean, on the upside, the punch walk only does like 12 damage, something like that by itself, but it's just so easy to spam it over and over again, and you gotta resist that urge.
I took Goro into the lab yesterday very briefly, and I just tried bouncing punch walk combos, and I think I got 34% after 4 tries, and I'm like, no, I feel guilty about this a little bit. Gotta let that go.
Well, I noticed one thing about, I think it was Devora I was playing as. She has a combo that's almost 30 damage. That's just a forward B 4 times in a row.
Jesus.
Oh my god.
Do it.
I think it's 25%.
I think I fought a guy using that earlier, as a matter of fact.
All right, Justin.
Mains. No surprise. It's Sub-Zero and Takeda. I'm glad I didn't say Kenshi this time. I've had the worst problem with that today.
Yeah, we were playing earlier, and he was trying so hard not to say Kenshi because he kept referring to him as Kenshi. But even when he was trying to remember not to say Kenshi,
look,
he said
just
Kenshi.
think Mexican food: taquito, taco supreme, taco salad. That's.
I think one time I said Takahasha to Kenshi, and then I was just it was done.
You kept saying it and didn't even realize it too. That's the funniest part.
I would be saying shit, and he's like, "Stop calling him Kenshi." Oh man. No, Takeda.
Takahashi Tenshi Takito Takeda. You are the chosen one.
That dude. He's probably my guy. I'm not gonna leave Sub-Zero. I'm still revving at Sub-Zero hardcore. What's the variation I like? Grandmaster.
Grandmaster, yeah.
Yeah. But I don't know. I really like Takeda. I like the way he feels and everything. That could change.
With him earlier.
I was not destroying you. Let's not.
Dude, his whips are ridiculously insane. I don't even know what to do with them.
Well, they're just whippy, man. So it's not that big of a deal. And I was not destroying you, okay?
I felt good. It felt like I had nothing. I could not jump in because he has 2 anti-airs, and you cannot duck and block because he has a lot of overhead stuff. He has 5 overhead specials.
He does have full screen overheads, which made me very happy.
I didn't know what to do.
Fuck.
And then you can't duck, or no, you can't stay standing because he does have that teleport that ends low when you enhance it. So I was just like, I don't know what to do.
Hey, don't give away all my secrets, okay?
I'm scared.
There's that guilt factor that you have to overcome. And Kenshi has too many options. So what? Use them.
And his combos are tricky because he'll do a few punches and then he'll end with the whip scorpion thing, and I was just you think it's over, so then you let go of block and then nope, there's more. So then you get caught by it. Yeah, he's tough.
Once I actually get used to the game, the movement and the functions and the basic mechanics, then my main might change. I might go back to Sub-Zero. I might go to Goro, or I don't know about Aaron Black. I was excited about him, but I'm hearing he's a little grapply sometimes or something. So I'll spend more time with him. But I gotta learn.
I found him a little tricky.
I gotta learn the base mechanics of this game.
I was playing Gunslinger, and you gotta kind of get used to the fact that if you just want to shoot the gun, you gotta keep going into the stance.
Right.
He's not as spammy as people thought he was going to be. I think that people were having the impression that he was basically going to be Striker Mark II with the quick shots, and that just didn't turn out to be the case.
I fought a spammy Aaron Black today online, but it wasn't that hard to deal with, though. If you just
you can get around him.
Yeah.
Spam is, I think, going to be much easier to deal with in this game for most people.
Especially with running. Like, it's hard to keep people out if you run at the right time and get in there. But yeah, right now it's Sub-Zero and mostly Takeda.
All right,
We'll be jump roping all day.
Oh, his whips.
I am, to my own surprise, actually maining Sub-Zero in this game. Shinnok is a lot of fun. My problem with Shinnok was this. And this kind of goes into one of my disappointments with the game overall. Variations are my favorite part of the game. They're also kind of the most disappointing, because they're not true stylistic variations. The style doesn't really change among variations. What changes is how you want to capitalize on your own strengths. But the core style typically doesn't change with the characters I've tried, maybe with the exception being Kenshi. So the fact is, if I want to play Shinnok, I can either play Shinnok as a move stealer zoner, I can play him as a sort of like high-low mix-up zoner, or I can play him as a dude with ugly skeleton arms zoner, and I don't really want to zone at the end of the day. I can find parts of the variations that play on my strengths, but it wasn't fun, and Sub-Zero is my favorite character on the MKX roster. So if I have to zone, if I'm not having success with him, I have to ask myself, why the fuck am I not using Sub-Zero? And then I started using Cryomancer just because I wanted to see if I was right or not, because I was very skeptical about I can't talk today. Cryomancer did not seem good to me at first.
And then you found your down 2.
Yes.
Fucking down 2, man. That thing...
supposedly it's full combo punishable. That's what everyone's saying, but I'm not fucking saying it. No one has shown me that. I have not seen anyone punish down 2. Tom Brady, I respect the shit out of you, but show me that that is full combo punishable. Because with
Tom Brady says a lot of things.
He also looks like Michael Cera.
He does. Yeah, he looks like sort of like a taller, kind of stockier Michael Cera, and that's a good thing. You know, and I remember when I first saw one of the streams from MK9 when that came out. Markman, back when he had the full beard and long hair, and fucking Tom Brady were on commentary, and the camera zoomed in on him, and all the commentators, or all the stream monsters were like, why is Michael Cera and Shang Tsung doing commentary? And that was a legitimate question. So, yeah. No, and by the way, let me give huge props to Tom Brady, because he wrote the guides for not just Cryomancer, but Unbreakable and Grandmaster. And they're very good, and that helped me out by miles. So huge props to those guys.
So
and Tom Brady especially. On. Oh, fuck yeah.
Yeah, I gotta read that shit on my own.
But I would like to know how you full combo punish down 2. I'm not seeing it. No one's doing it yet, at least, but...
You gotta get good.
Maybe. And maybe it's like, if you have like a teleport that's less than 14 frames, maybe that's how people are doing it. And with an EX teleport, you could perhaps get full combo.
Yeah, but
maybe that's what you do, but I don't know.
Don't you fucking use the down 2, like, shouldn't you be using that down 2 as like the best overhead anti-air in the game? Like,
I don't know if it's a...
You can't full combo punish that off of like you're jumping in, and that's when you should be using it, I think.
I'm glad you finally admitted that it's a good anti-air, because I said that from the beginning.
It's better than most. And when it comes to uppercuts, it's better than most. We'll talk about that next week about anti-airs, because I'm not really sure how I'm supposed to be anti-airing in this game, because if it's just the uppercut, that's a little disheartening.
I've had actually a fair amount of success with Melina's uppercuts for anti-air, and hers doesn't look particularly great to me.
Yeah, I'll keep testing it out. I'll test out all the characters, but that was another reason why I didn't want to use Shinnok, because everything felt so unsafe. I'm like, what am I supposed to do with this character? And then a little voice in my head said, you're supposed to fucking zone. I'm like, oh, that's right. So, I don't know. With Cryomancer, God, I just feel like once I'm up close, I have so many cool options, you know? I maintain space so well. It really is a rushdown variation. Because the back 3-3, if you have meter, back 3-3 is good. Forward 4-2 is good. Because you have the armored hammer, you have the mostly safe Ice Blast, and you have the forward 3-3, which, again, if it's punishable, I'm not seeing it, and that builds hella meter. So yeah, just a lot of good damage with Sub-Zero, a lot of good options with the Cryomancer. I feel like, unlike MK9, I can just fucking go in with Sub. You know, I'm not hiding behind a fucking clone anymore, you know? So, really fun. I don't know what the strongest variation is with some. God, I can't talk today. Event Hub's tier list, which is trash, by the way, but it's supposed to be, the game just came out, has Grandmaster as the worst variation. We'll see if that's true. I don't think it is. I think Unbreakable's the worst, because I like the philosophy of the design. I think it's viable. I think you could perform really well with Unbreakable, but it's very meter heavy. Another reason I wasn't crazy about Shinnok. You know, that power-hungry bastard is using meter all the time, and I'm just like, come on, man, stop. I have no fucking breaker. Never with Shinnok. That's the only way I feel like I can do any sort of damage, you know? His 50 mix, or his, what's it called? The bone scoop. That's a 50-50 after 1-1-2, because if I commit to the force and overhead, if I cancel the scoop, it's a combo starter with meters, so that's cool, but how do I fucking set it up, you know? That's my thing. So, but I'm gonna go as far as I can with Shinnok, but in terms of how much fun I'm having, in terms of just my playstyle being brought to life, Sub-Zero's my main, and we'll see if that changes with DLC. I do want to ask you guys all one question. What costumes are you using? And this especially goes for Cyborg, who has 15 billion costumes to choose from. That's a good thing. That's a good thing.
It's a beautiful.
Then who are you using, sir? What costume are you using?
Like the main? Because I kind of like to bounce around them all for Katana, but in terms of my favorite for Katana, I still really like her primary, probably the most. Just her Japanese-inspired primary. But if I had to choose a second favorite, it would easily be the Jingu or whatever the hell it's called from the combat pack, the samurai one. That one is perfect.
Oh, the rain one, right?
Sure, in the alternate colors.
It looks like rain.
But yeah, that would be my second favorite. But I also like her Revenant. I like her Dark Empress. I like those four especially. Her MK9 one, it's okay, and the MK2 one is okay. I just was never a big fan of those outfits, but yeah, no, those four especially are really amazing. But yeah, I lean towards her primary and the combat pack samurai one. Those are easily the best looking katana outfits I've ever seen. For me.
Okay. Who else?
I've been using, I don't have any of the Revenant costumes yet, but I've been mostly using Lou's MK9 outfit. Just because I don't think the primary is bad, but I'm not really into, the gray hair, with no bangs.
I knew you were going to say bangs. I knew it was coming.
Plus, I think the costumes actually... the costumes actually affect the intros, I think. When I'm playing as MK9 Lou, I'm getting a lot of ones that reference events from MK9 as though he's still the champion of the tournament, which is interesting. Obviously, I'm all about Beard Zero, and like I said, I'm not gonna pick up Quan Chi until they come out with the classic outfit.
All right, cool. And Justin?
You guys saw mine today, you and Tiomp. I'm going the white costumes for both of my characters. The Revenant Sub-Zero and Shirai Ryu Takeda. I like the alternate color for his primary too, though. It's also white.
Yeah, the Takeda one definitely looked cool, but that Sub-Zero Revenant one with the alternate colors, which it is kind of white, but I on my screen it looked very ice blue almost.
It's there somewhere in the middle.
It's a very light blue / white, definitely. But yeah, that outfit looks fucking amazing. That is easily one of my favorite Sub-Zero looks ever. You know, save for the Revenant skin looking whatnot. But yeah, just the rest of it just absolutely beautiful.
Yeah, especially I like a lot of the palettes, the start button palette colors in this one. Scorpion, it just reverses the yellow and the black. I think that looks really good. I really like the red it adds to Devora.
Right. Yeah, they're a lot more varied this time. They're not just simple colored. Scorpion in the past has always had just an orangier version of it.
Yeah, it's always a little reddish orange. That's all.
So yeah,
I really didn't like Sub-Zero's primary one.
Kano, it changes his camo pants to green, which adds much needed color to his primary.
Yeah.
Shinnok goes red. Looks way better with those little horn accessories, like we mentioned.
Yeah, indeed.
I like Melina's darker turquoise. Really works well with the black pants.
Is that the one that you primarily use?
Don't have anything else yet.
If you did, though, what would you use?
I don't know. It's a trick question. I think we'd actually need to see it in action more, but I'm actually a really big fan of her main. She has like what, two more, I think, actually?
Yeah, she has
two
the
variations that are
Conum. Yeah, she has the Conum and then one other one.
She has the classic too, doesn't she?
Yeah, she has a classic.
Yeah, but we were looking at like the classic ones a couple of nights before release when I hit with a spoiler, and I don't know, maybe it's just the render, but it just looks like she's just wearing like rubber or something.
Yeah.
If it looks better in game, then I'll definitely.
The texture of the classic outfits does look kind of like rubber.
Yeah.
We'll see it in game, maybe.
I always just think workout attire when I think the MK2 female ones, and that's why I've never been a big fan. I like the MK3 ones, but the MK2 just never. The headband and all of that. It's totally 80s workout.
The attempt to look like Elektra from Daredevil.
Right. That's true. That's very true. And Temp.
I still have problems with it, but the Sub-Zero primary, there are things I do like about it, and it does have sort of an MK2 vibe. And the fact that everyone hates it, I feel like I kind of adopted that costume. It's like, still bothers me that they could have made any costume they want and they made that, but it doesn't look bad. And with the army of Beard Zero, I feel like I want to stand out. And yeah, at least among our group, no one else is using it. So I'll take it as my costume for now. I would like Deception's costume to come back, but it's not bad and it's growing on me. Even the belts are growing on me. So it's just the mask at this point, No, that's one reason why I wanted to use Unbreakable so bad, because I like the mask so much better. But
I agree with you, just in terms of when you're using that costume with the Unbreakable mask, I actually really do like the outfit. The mask, like we said last on the Graveyard Shift, the one that we did last week, the mask is the big thing for me of why I dislike the primary Sub-Zero outfit. But with that Unbreakable mask, it definitely goes a long way in helping it.
What's ironic that you guys are liking the Unbreakable mask, because way back in the first episode, you all thought it looked stupid.
Yeah, yes.
Yeah, well, it looks better now, to be fair.
They fixed it.
I'm still not convinced, but I'm going to need to see it on the Beard costume.
That's the irony of it. When I use Unbreakable, I'm fucking using Beard Zero, because it now makes him distinguished. He doesn't look like Kenshi or any other bearded character, or even Kenshi.
Well, speaking of which, that's part of why I like the Revenant. I mean, I love the outfit itself, but the Revenant one that Django uses, it has the mask, but without the, the cowl or whatever you want to call that, the rest of it, the hood. So I love that. It's the classic, I don't know, I just love the mask without the top part of it.
Amen.
But, all right, so that wraps up the episode, I think. So next week we are going to be fully discussing all of our, the intricacies of gameplay, everything we're enjoying about it, the towers, the crypt, and just going about every other aspect. This was mainly a story thing and just our initial impressions on the gameplay.
Well, I can't wait to get into the crypt.
Oh my, I think we can all say that, but we've not even explored most of it yet, but it is so much fun. It is fun to be in the crypt now.
Yeah, it's almost like they combined it with Deception Conquest.
Honestly, a little bit.
It is, yeah.
All right. Well, next week so enjoy that, and hopefully you guys dug our kind of in-depth analysis of story mode and just opinions and whatnot. But yeah, we're all excited. We want to play more. I've been wanting to play more this entire time we've been recording.
Yeah, same here.
I think we all have. We're all just ready to play more and just delve more into this game.
Yeah, really bad.
So
it's 2 a.m. for me. I have to go to bed right now, and I'm angry.
All right,
I'm going to sleep angry.
Without further ado, you guys take care, and we'll catch you again next week.
Good night, everyone.
Toodaloo.
Bye.
friendship. Friendship? Again?